One. Welcome back to the Jagged Edge. Javal, how are you doing on this lovely Monday?
A little different. It's not. We're having a Monday, and we're still waiting on the Jags to play.
Yeah, no
So it's
recap.
not just Sunday 1 p.m.
Yeah, but a lot of things definitely changed since the last time we talked. We control our own destiny in the AFC starting tonight. Like, what? In December. We to control our own
Not
destiny.
not to go too far off. There's like NFL breaking news about a former player in the division. We could talk about that.
Wait, what
Um,
breaking news just happened? What did I
Shaq
miss?
Shaq Leonard, well, formerly Darius, back when he was good, is now on the Eagles. He just
Oh
signed like
well.
literally. I just saw the tweet a minute ago. I was like,
I'm falling asleep. I'm just kidding. But okay, that's cool.
big ups. Imagine having two linebackers in the division worse than Foye and Devin Lloyd, which most teams do. So,
Can't be us, man. Can't be us.
but yeah, it's Monday. It's Monday Night Football. It's actually here. Is this what prime time feels like?
The lights are gonna be on. We have a blackout. I know there's gonna be some assholes that won't wear teal or won't wear black. I'm not gonna name them out. Just kidding. But hey,
Just don't wear orange, and you'll be okay.
yeah. There could be Bengals fans that wear black that doesn't know, so fair enough. It's a good little disguise. No orange though. There will be a little orange. I know a couple Bengals fans that are in the area that'll go to the game. So what can you do? I mean, what's there to talk about though? Is there anything that intrigues you going into this matchup tonight? We're gonna just kind of keep it short and sweet. I'm gonna try to get ready. It's 2:43 as we're recording. Unfortunately, Javal can't make it, so I'll let you leave your initial thoughts for the game.
I have to be there for both of us.
I know. I'll do the drinking for both of us too. I got off tomorrow, so I got to do that for both
That's
of us.
beautiful.
I'll take a Casa shot for you.
Wish I could go, but I'll be there in spirit. I guess just for the game itself, I feel, once again, still disappointed that it's not Joe Burrow because if everybody, if Burrow was healthy, the whole talk would have been, Burrow versus Lawrence, the champion, the rematch championship game, and you know, based on how well Trevor's been playing the past couple weeks, if Burrow was playing at that similar level, that would have been the whole matchup. And the Jags defense play versus an elite quarterback. Instead of Joe Burrow, we have Jake Browning. So it goes from can they beat the elite defense, just can they not get too ahead of the hype. That's really the thing where as long as the Jags don't look ahead too much of the schedule and try to think of, oh, the Chiefs lost, if we went out, obviously you have to think big, but you can't get ahead of yourself. You have to take it 1 week at a time. It's the NFL. If you overlook an opponent, you can lose. No wins are easy in the NFL. So to me, the biggest storyline of the game is, do the Jags just handle business? Because the Bengals still have a talented team. They just haven't played like it. But you don't want to go in there thinking that you're just going to steamroll them, because you remember what happened week 3. So the game, you
Definitely,
have to play to win the game.
definitely remember that. I was doing some research. I'm gonna try to get it up here real quick, but I was looking at team stats, especially since, I'm not gonna say the Bengals offense isn't gonna be humming because like I said, it's the NFL. You don't overlook your opponents, but realistically, you're going to look at what is our matchup on the defensive side of the ball now, since that big X factor in Joe Burrow is out. And what I came to realize is that the Bengals allow the most passing yards per attempt in the NFL, tied with the Commanders with 8.1 yards per attempt, and that the rushing, they also allow the most rushing yards per attempt in the NFL at a solid 5.5. Actually, Denver surpassed them yesterday after their loss to the Texans. The Bengals are the second worst team in the NFL in yards per attempt in rushing, and they are the worst team in the NFL when it comes to yards per attempt allowed. So realistically, this Jaguars offense should move the ball down the field. It's just a matter of fact if we can just reduce the mistakes that, the first half of the season there that was apparent. Last week I don't count the interception for Trevor. So
Had these X stats, but shout out to Ship and Gus. They were bringing on the Jag Report pod. They would bring stats how the Bengals allow, I think they're 32nd in explosive passing yards allowed and explosive like rushing attempts allowed. So to me, the biggest question, I know for a fact, as long as offensive line can hold well enough, they can get passing plays. We've seen it not just the past couple of weeks, but just we've seen Trevor play well, especially this time last year. He started to get on that streak last year, and he's starting to be on the same streak this year. So to me, the biggest question mark is really, will the running game be able to pick up its slack? Because I mean, I just trying to remember the top of my head the last time they had a great running, even a good running game in even games they've won. The running game really hasn't been there. Um,
New
not even
Orleans maybe, but not
even
really.
even
Yeah, even then,
then.
yeah.
So it's definitely my biggest concern is now that you kind of solidified as we're playing inside, will that help the running game a little bit more? He had that great screenplay to the Ernest Johnson last week. He was really athletic in space. Can you get more runs in space? Let ETN, really, because with ETN, obviously he can be good between the tackles, but we saw it last year. Even it's just funny because when ETN's vision wasn't great, they were still averaging efficient runs because ETN was just being able to get to the edge. And now that the vision is better, the old line just hasn't gotten that great. But I think if they can try to attack the edges more, because I think that's the one element they haven't been using as much this year compared to last year. They've definitely ETN's has better vision at running inside, which has made them run inside a little bit more. The only problem is they're not that great running inside. So it's you definitely want to use ETN all over the field, and I understand that. But maybe if they can try to hopefully get some explosive runs, get linemen in space, let guys on the move, because even the Fortner, like the when Fortner was in space on the ETN Wildcat touchdown versus the Colts, that was a great play design. ETN let him get in space and he'll make magic happen after. So that to me is going to be the big question mark. Where if the Jags are able to really flex and have their best offensive game, are they going to have support from the running game too, or is it just going to be Trevor carrying? Which as long as the team wins and doesn't embarrass themselves, I don't care how they score. It would be nice to see the offensive, just the running game, reel in a little bit more, add some balance. You don't want to
Yeah,
be too one-sided all the time and just throw, throw, throw. Like you want to at least be able to, because the thing with the Jags is they're going to run to set up the play action, which has worked for their passing game. So they kind of have to run whether they're running good or not. It's just a matter of can they run a little bit better so that it'll be even deadlier when you do the play action passes. So that to me is the biggest question mark.
for sure. And I will like to allude the fact that I know Doug Peterson said that Travis Etienne has the rib injury, but he will be active. I am curious to see what the usage is between him, Dearness, and Tank Bixby going into tonight. I mean, I don't know how ETN is truly feeling. Maybe it's just a precautionary. You got to put him on the injury list because he was banged up a little bit last week. But if it's a rib injury as it is, I would like to see a bit more of Dearness and even Tank Bixby get a lot more share, especially toward the end of this season. Just to kind of spread it out. So the usage, whatever we need for the playoffs, I know looking too far ahead. It's just something to consider. But I think if ETN feels like he can go, he'll get as many touches as he usually has throughout the season. But it's something to look forward to as well tonight.
I guess we'll see how ETN's feeling. My guess is, Dearness maybe gets 8+ carries. I want to say like six is the floor. I think I'll definitely try to preserve ETN a little bit. Just, obviously if he's healthy ish, he'll get a lot of the touches and passing yard, receptions. But if they could try to preserve him a little bit more, it's still early. It's still there's more enough games down the stretch where you want to preserve guys and their health. But you're going to need ETN to be healthy in the playoffs. So I guess they'll use Dearness a little bit more. I don't exactly remember how many carries he had last week, but he definitely was more involved. Had that big screenplay. Will they actually use Tank? I don't really know. I mean, could they
They
use
used him a
Tank, and
little
will
bit
they?
last week. I don't know why I said last year.
Past 2 games, Dearness has had 7 carries and 1 catch. So 8 touches specifically, like 7 carries, 1 catch. Um, Very funny that his 1 catch he had went for more yards than all his rushing yards combined. Like the past 2 weeks, he's averaging 2.8 yards per carry on those 7 carries. So not great, but he's getting carries to try to line the load on
Balance.
ETN.
Yeah.
So it's just to me, it's like knowing that I understand why they are going to keep running the ball. I get that. I've accepted it at this point, and it makes sense. Like, yes, it helps to play action. It's really just a matter of, okay, are they going to be able to get better efficiency, you know, or can they try to balance the running a little? Like, can they run when teams think they're going to pass and get more yards that way? Because that's really the only thing that's keeping the Jags offense from truly being all elite, just like the rest of them. Sorry, I
But
saw the towel. I saw the towel in the back, and I was like, yeah, that
that
needs to
works.
be.
I
Right now, the
know.
Jags are elite. Well, they're not all elite.
I mean, yeah, yeah, corporate synergy between Tony Khan and I guess and the Jaguars. But yeah, I was just looking at his game logs, and when you asked about when was ETN's true last good rushing game, the last time he's had over 5 yards or I'll just say 4 yards a carry, since he only reached that stat over only 3 times this season. The last time he averaged over 4 yards a carry was that Buffalo game where he had 136 yards and 2 touchdowns, where he had that tweet where it's like, damn, I played myself in fantasy today. Ever since that tweet, he hasn't really had a very efficient running game. So we're just waiting to see whenever that will happen.
They're still
Hopefully.
scoring. That's the craziest part. It's not
Yeah.
even the offense is terrible. The rushing offenses, but they're still finding ways to get passing production. So, I'm glad that they're able to score despite the fact, and they're still using the running game to set up play action passing, which has helped. So, it is nice to see that the offense has gotten better, especially compared to where we started the year. Especially after even after the Falcons game, the offense was still kind of whatever. Seeing the offense start to pick up more has been encouraging. We're seeing Trevor Cook. It's just a matter of can Trevor Cook and the offense, like the rushing game, cook? Because essentially, will the whole offense cook, not just Trevor? Like, will ETN or Dearness or just whoever be able to use the ground game? Maybe we'll see Tank with some good runs, but to me, that's the only thing where if the Jags can really improve on the running game down the stretch, then they'll be legit AFC. Then they'll be like, okay, you don't want to face this offense or you don't want to face this defense. No one wants to face this team. Even still, without the offensive line, with the running game, we still have Trevor Lawrence. So once he's on a heater, you don't want to face him. But it'd be nice to get better production from a rushing game. I think another stat from Ship, the Jags since 2022 are like 27th or 28th in rushing EPA, so not very great. And the Jags passing offense has been 8th, so they've been able to pass the ball well despite the rushing offense being pretty bad, which is kind of impressive. But it's so weird because usually when you don't have
A running
a
game.
good
The
running
run sets
game,
up the pass, that's the balance of football.
that I'm just so used to 2017 when Fournette was under 4 yards to carry. That was because you had Bortles at quarterback. So teams, of course, were stacking the box. You know, it was the
Challenging them to
Hackett.
throw.
It was
Yeah.
the Hackett offense. Teams wanted the Jags to throw the football, and then they were like, oh, we'll beat us with the running. They don't want to beat the Jags. Oh, sorry, they don't want the Jags to beat them with the passing game because they know like with Bortles they couldn't beat them to the air. It's like okay, we'll stack the box, and then now that the Jags actually have a quarterback and weapons to throw the ball down the field to, and the box isn't stacked, they still can't run the ball. That's just hilarious. You would think it'd be so opposite. Yeah, we have a quarterback who can really air it up for us, and we still can't run the ball at all. That's so Jaguars. Nothing about this team makes sense. They just even when they're good, nothing is normal. I
I
hate
mean,
this
hey,
team.
we're 8-3. We're not out okay, Mr. Negativity. But speaking of the passing game, I did want to bring up one thing that was brought up to me throughout the week. Evan Ingram, he has the most targets and the most receptions of the Jaguars this season, but he is the only top target in this team to not have a passing reception touchdown yet. Do you think that changes tonight? Which I would put good money to feel like this is the night where he finally gets into the end zone.
So
I
I
didn't
remember
say
he
I
had the
hope
same
so.
stretch because he only had 4 touchdowns last year, and 3 of them came.
In
Well, yeah, 2 of them
December.
were in the Tennessee game,
Yeah.
and then one was versus the Lions. So he had the one and versus London. So I don't want to say whenever he definitely is due for one. Is it going to happen tonight? I don't know, but I guess we'll see.
He's had a lot of targets over. Yeah, he's like 5, 8, 8, 8, 8, 7, 7, 10, 7, 6. Yeah, he gets at least 6 targets in a game. He hasn't had a game where he had fewer than 5 targets in the game. So with this Bengals defense that allows a lot of big plays, maybe Evan Ingram finally gets open down the middle of the field. I mean, that's what you're at least hoping for.
Definitely, I think what's missing is they use. I feel with Ingram, he's just missing the shot plays. Not that they haven't thrown him the ball in some shot plays. He had the
Mhm.
one versus the Colts, but I think it was versus Tennessee where he had beat by a step and Trevor threw a little bit.
Yeah.
If Ingram was able to run, that could have been a huge play. Maybe goes to the end zone. So he's definitely had some opportunities, but they don't use. I feel with Ingram, it's either let him get the ball really shallow underneath, or try to get him on a wheel versus linebacker down the field that way. And just the times they do take a shot, it really hasn't panned out that much. So we'll see, because it would be nice to have an Ingram breakout game. I think he deserves it more than anybody, but just
Javal, you good? Uh-oh.
muscles, but at the same time, it's Jags, so I'm also prepared. That I'm prepared for something stupid to happen, and everyone's just like, "This is the same old Jags." Like 5 minutes in the game.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm gonna start looking into the oh my God. I'm looking at the Bengals stats from last week because that was the first week with the Jake Browning offense. They did still target Jamar Chase a lot. They didn't really get the ball a lot, it looks like. Let me see what the time possession looked like here. Yeah, they were not on offense a lot last week. They only had 22 minutes on offense against the Steelers last week, who, had over 400 yards against them, and then they lost to the
Fake,
Cardinals yesterday too.
fake,
Yeah.
fake. I'm sorry. You let a team with Kenny Pickett go for that much yardage. You should be fired from the. I know they have a good defense coordinator. Like it's. Then again, with all that time of possession, I guess there's not that much they could do. So I'll give them a
They
pass.
still spread the ball throughout too. They've had one, two, three, four, five. They had 9 different receivers who caught the ball last week. I'm just trying to mix. They only ran the ball 8 times with Joe Mixon, and Browning had 3 rushes as well that only combined for 25 total yards. So yeah, they're also the worst rushing offense in the NFL this season. So their offensive line situation is not, they might be worse than us when it comes to running the
Who
football.
who okay? Who ends with a higher yards per carry this game? Mixon or ETN?
Because Jags, I'm gonna say Mixon. Why am I the negative one? But because Jags, I have a feeling Mixon gets like a big run for no
I
reason.
I honestly even I feel if like the ETN like having I feel like if the do end up winning like are big, it's gonna tank ETN's protection because
Yeah,
they're gonna try to do like the simple runs. And it's gonna be a 1 yard run, 2 yard like it's. I honestly feel he'll have better production rushing when they're down when they're up because when they're up teams don't even like stack the box versus Jacksonville, and they aren't good stopping the run. So like if the Jags are up big and they're just trying to run the ball away to salt it, that would probably cook his production. But I mean, yeah, you said it. The Bengals rushing offense is not great, and obviously with Jake Browning, they have the weapons down the field, so you want to spread it out as much as you can realistically, but you also want to be smart. So I would like, if you're Cincinnati, you want to run the ball too, so you don't have to put everything in the arms of a backup quarterback. But the Jags' run defense has been great all year long. So yeah, I don't think it'll be, it'll be a lot easier for the Jags to move the ball through the air than the Bengals will. But it is Monday Night Football; anything can happen. So I guess we'll just wait and see.
Double-digit favorites for the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is unbelievable. It was crazy too, because every time we're favored by more than a touchdown, crazy
That
bullshit
is
does
when
happen. So, yeah,
that's when stupid things happen.
yeah. So that's why
Petrified.
that's why we're just like, I don't know, backup quarterback. They do get Tee Higgins back, which is a big part of that offense. So this not just watch Jamar Chase, and hopefully Jake Browning makes a mistake. But I feel like with we'll talk about the Jags defense finally. I feel like we just talk so much about the offense because how fun it is to talk about this offense when it's clicking. We didn't even mention Calvin Ridley and all that, but this numbers already prove it to itself. Finally getting the production that we thought he'd have at the beginning of the year. But back to the defense. Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, what revelations they have been recently as a pass rushing duo. Finally for the latter and Trayvon Walker.
Bronze hasn't even dominated the stat sheet yet, but he's still. I think he's definitely made a big impact. It's it's funny because he had a career high 6 pressures versus the Texans last week, but also had one of the lowest win rates on the team. So I don't know. I felt something has to give with Trevon. Like he can't be fully complimented one way or the other. But it'd be I think more so than Josh having a big game, Trevon having a big game would be huge because the national media perception is still like, he's underwhelming for number one overall pick. They see the stack numbers and say, oh, this guy's not any good number one overall pick, can't rush the passer. So I think just having more people watch him on a national audience, watching him affect the like just not only getting the passer, it'd be great if he had, a 2 sack game. That would be beautiful.
Yeah,
But
as I say, this might be a game where Evan Ingram gets a touchdown, Trayvon gets a multi-sack game on national television. I feel like it'd be perfect.
like because it's the Jags on TV, I can only see two things happening. Either they just stunt so hard, like all the people who, they're like this is for Jacksonville, Monday Night Football, we want to show out, the whole world's watching. They just go all out, stat pad, and especially for Pro Bowl people who are watching, that's gonna be like, oh yes, this is gonna be the game that gets Jags in the Pro Bowl. Either that or something dumb happens and Jake Browning looks like Joe Burrow. And even if we win, like we could still be in a win. It could be like a close win and people would be like Jags are frauds. So I don't it's either we blow them out or something stupid happens and media is going to hate on the Jags because that's just how it works. There's no in between.
Yeah, but also we don't have to care what the media thinks. We win today, no matter ugly or beautiful. We control our own destiny in the AFC, like I said at the top of the show. But like I said, you can't take anything for granted in the NFL. For the Jaguar fans waiting 12 years for our first Monday night game since December of 2011, we're here. We made it. Um, God, Javal. I like I said, I'm a little. It is what it is that you can't make it. I'm a little sad that you can't make it down, but I know you're just gonna be rocking it back there in UCF. So
I'll be holding it down over here. So I've already got the gear ready. So
yeah, I'm gonna go shower since I worked in this all day. I did a bunch of the facilities at Wawa today, so a lot of moving. So it took my mind off of the game, which is good. You always like that when you're working. You're just not really thinking about football. Because I remember, I think I worked the day of the Titans game last year. the last game of the I was in the deli, I wasn't moving around, and all I could think about was that football game. So it's just a stark contrast. Maybe because it was like for a playoff spot. I mean, I guess it's similar because we're going for the number one seed today, but since I was moving a lot today, I didn't really think about the game up until now, honestly.
Last time Joe Bug and Troy Aikman called a game for the Jags was that Titans game. So hopefully it won't be as close. It'll, you know, I'm begging for a blowout just so I can, talk as I can talk smack from the couch. Just I hope everyone going there vibes are great. Well, we're rooting for the right cat team, not the Bengals. But just man, the energy in the city, it feels great, especially after knowing the fact that outside of, obviously you don't look too far ahead, but if the Jags, they control their own destiny. So, if you can win that Ravens game, there's no reason you shouldn't run the table. But it starts here. So you got to win this game first. You can't look too far ahead. You got to face this game and the Browns, who, they didn't look. The game was a lot closer versus the Rams. The score indicated at the end, so they still have a lot of talent. And then the Ravens. So you just have to try to go through this stretch, and then from there it's Bucks, Panthers, Titans. So you
AFC
go three,
North Gauntlet, yeah, AFC North Gauntlet, three game gauntlet starting today.
go
So
through this,
yeah, go for it. Didn't mean to cut you off.
get through this stretch, and then it's gonna be the start. So hopefully this can really be the. I mean, I feel like the Tennessee game was already the spark plug, but hopefully this is the national spark plug where it's okay. The rest of national media sees how this team really is. But then again, part of me is afraid that the national media will see how this team really is. So I'm just like, you know, don't disappoint me, Jags. But I have faith. But I also partially expecting Jake Browning to go off. So a little bit
I
jaded.
I mean, at the end of the day, just gotta enjoy it as it is, right? But I guess since it is our podcast, we do gotta make a prediction for the score, the final score, and then we can kind of send our final thoughts. Javal, since you're not going, I'll leave it to you. What you think is gonna happen tonight?
Um, I want to say the first quarter and a half will be kind of stupid, and then after they'll tighten up. I don't think it will be domination all the way through, just because it's the Jags. I don't see it. I would love for it to happen. Like, I don't want to say I can't see it because there has been blowout games, but it's just been divisionals, like the Colts and the Titans.
You're right.
So I mean, both of those are not great with backup quarterbacks, but at the same time, since the roster Cincinnati has is a lot better. So I'll say Jags 27, Bengals 13. So it's not a full. I don't think it'll be a 40 burger. I'd love it to be 40 burger. Maybe Bengals strike first, get a field, get a touchdown, and then the Jags kind of reel it in, smooth everything along. Trevor throws for 3 touchdowns, 275. Still a good 275 and two because honestly, because it'd be the Jags, it'd be hilarious if this is the game where the running game takes over and carries, and then Trevor throws for 100 yards. And Trevor, it'd be hilarious if this is the game where the offensive line dominates and ETN has a 4 touchdown game and fantasy nerds everywhere are going to be like Travis is carrying. So I'm having that to happen. But yeah, I'll say Jags 27, Bengals 13.
This is the time of year where we know Trevor Lawrence can take over. I think I'm just gonna follow what the eyeballs have been telling us these past couple weeks. This is Trevor Lawrence's team. He heard the noise last week when it comes to CJ Stroud, and he showed out. This is the game where Trevor Lawrence can start to take over and lead the AFC for the rest of the season. The Jaguars knew that this was a game at the time of year where they could realistically be the head of that table. And now the table's ours and ours to hold. Jaguars 38, Bengals 16. I think it's time. You talked about yourself, most explosive plays allowed, and you don't think Trevor Lawrence is gonna go off tonight? You don't think Trevor Calvin Ridley's gonna get his? You don't think that Evan Ingram will finally get his? You don't think Christian Kirk will get one? You don't think ETN will get one? I think everybody just eats tonight. Screw it. Tank Bigsby might eat tonight if uh
Let's chat it here.
hey, maybe Caleb on Jason eats tonight because they
Okay,
allow a
let's
lot of stuff.
dude. I think the funniest thing ever is like Brenton Strange and Luke Farrell combining for like 12 catches, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and Ingram has like 4 catches, 45 yards.
I mean, Strange kind of messed up his foot though during practice this week. It was in a boot. So my guess is that he doesn't play.
Oh yeah, they
Can you
haven't
imagine if
announced
they
the
elevate Josh Peterson today because of the Strange injury?
nepotism ball.
Nepotism ball, baby. You got the Taylors, you got the Petersons. Let's go.
They haven't announced the actives yet, so yeah, I guess we'll
Yeah,
see.
it's way too
I'm
early. But yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off.
do,
What was that?
do you think Tyson's playing?
Tyson, I don't know, but we've seen enough from Montreal Brown to where he's good enough to hold it down at the corner position. Not as good as Tyson, but he can be solid at best, you know?
You're saying that Tee Higgins is going to be on Buster Island?
Absolutely. He's
He's
gonna be
getting
on
hit with the
Buster.
Buster call.
Yeah, man. Would it be great for Buster to get his first pick after dropping one a couple of weeks?
Getting hit with the Buster call.
The Buster call. You're calling the Buster call? Buster interception today? First one of his career?
I I'm just saying I was always on the
You're a
Buster
big
Brown
Buster
hive.
guy. Yeah, you were a big Buster Brown guy,
They
though.
they
I can't.
called me a madman when I said that he was better than Greg Jr.
And the analytics prove it too. He's actually a very solid corner when it comes to not allowing separation either. So hey, I'm not saying that Buster is, Buster ain't no Buster in this in this football team.
We'll see, but just glad we can talk Jags. Hopefully there won't be a Tannic Tuesday tomorrow.
Oh, tumultuous Tuesday. Hopefully
Tumultuous.
not. Tumultuous Tuesday, toxic Tuesday. We'll be toxic if if we blow them out like I think is gonna happen. But like I
All I'm
said, the vibes are not good in Cincinnati, and I feel like the vibes are good. But it was an emotional game last week. So let's see if it's the nerves are finally over after last Sunday's, almost heart attack. But today is a new week, and they have the chance to run the table starting tonight.
excited, but
What final thoughts do you have, Javal, before we end this quick pod for the night?
that's mainly it. Just need another Ridley touchdown. I need a Ridley masterclass for fantasy. So
Oh, yeah,
Trevor,
let's.
if you wanna throw, give him another 2 touchdown game, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate that. Um, I guess just go Jags. Obviously, hope that good guys win, and just mentally prepared for first quarter something stupid to happen. But other than that, feeling pretty good. So
Yeah, so in one of my leagues where I am 5-7, but I've won two in a row. I am somehow still alive in this playoff race, and I need 14 combined points from Trevor and Calvin today to win.
oh,
So
that should be cake actually.
yeah, I think so. 87% according to Yahoo, but I, you don't take anything for granted because it is the NFL. Hopefully no worst case scenarios happening. And then in another league where I'm facing a bunch of the people in our Jags chat, I need how many points I need? I need 18 points from Dearness Johnson because all my running backs are on my week.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that
might be
might be a
cooked
little
in that
difficult.
league. But like I said, if they maybe I want them to rotate Dearness more so ETN could rest a little bit so Dearness could get some more touches, but that's not happening,
Hopefully
unfortunately.
for your sake that works.
Yeah, but who knows? Let's just hope that the Jaguars show out and control their own destiny the rest of the way, like we talked about. Basically, that's all I'm trying to say. fantasy teams, I don't care as long as the Jaguars win the game, honestly. If it's by 3, God hope it's not by 3. If it's by 20 plus, like we hope that we win by, I mean, we're just gonna have fun no matter what. That's what Duval does. Waited 12 years for this. Let's make it happen. Javal, thank you again for another great show. What a time. What a time. Feels good, man. All right, guys, if you're still watching, thank you. Like, subscribe. Javal, you got any final words before we send it for the night?
One needs a ticket, let me know. Other than that, I'm good.
I might just put a link just to message you after I put this tweet up that the video is done. But guys, thank you so much. Javal, hold it down in Orlando and go fucking Jags.
Dude.
Dude.